Classic. I think you're having some audio problems, Panda. Are you sure you have your mic set up correctly? I can hear you, but the people on the stream can't. Check your video. Make sure your mic is set up in there. Oh, there we go. We got something. Okay, let's just backtrack to what Panda said before he was muted.
Okay, so as I was saying for the third time now, because Panda's an idiot. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary friends of all denominations, welcome to Indiethon 2022, supporting Puppies Behind Bars. Finally, we've got it out. Do not let Panda touch your tech. Very good idea. I'm teching later in this marathon, so if it all goes wrong, that's what's happened.
Yeah, but as Panda said, we're supporting Puppies Behind Bars. That's our charity for this event. If you want to donate, you can go to tracker.indiethon.live/donate. Yes, we have a whole new system for donating. Goodbye, Tiltify, you suck. So you can go explore that and try and crash it for me. Please don't do that. But yeah, through there, you can also see the runs. You can see incentives and all that. You can see everything that's coming up. So you can go, again, tracker.indiethon.live/donate is where you can donate. And yeah.
And speaking of donations, we have actually already had one from Team Green Gaming. From our marathon to yours, I hope you break more than just speedrun records. Thank you very much, Team Green, and your marathon is as awesome as ours.
And we have a quick little bit of an announcement here. We have a merch store for this marathon. So we have teamed up with Route 2 Apparel. We have a couple of shirts. We have some hoodies. We have a mug, we have a tumbler, and a variety of different colors. If you head over to store.indiethon.live, you can also type the !merch command in chat. You can head over to our store, and $5 of each sale goes right back to the charity Puppies Behind Bars.
Yes, I'm sorry, I was trying to fix a link. Anyway, you're not here to see us, are you? You're here to see our amazing runs. And coming up as our very first run of this marathon is Aeshmah with Samurai Jack. Who wants to see something like that?
I think it's going to be a killer run. Definitely should watch that run. But I mean, it's coming up right after this, so.
Yep. So, yep. And so, well, everything's just going wrong. Nothing will update.
I think we're kind of forgetting what we want to talk about. So instead of us doing this really bad intro, let's push it over to Aeshmah so we can present Samurai Jack Battle Through Time.
Yes.
All right, take it away.
So, Aeshmah, it's over to you. Do your stuff.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Indiethon with a speedrun of Samurai Jack. Quickly going over what we're going to do, we are going to be running this on the lowest difficulty setting from a fresh save file. And while we explain a little bit more about the run before we actually get into the start, I will just show you the intro cinematic so you have something to listen to while I also talk a little bit. So, like I said, this will be from a fresh save file. We will go through all of the 9 stages back to back. There will be quite a bit of out of bounds stuff happening, and I have the best person ever to do commentary for me right here. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thanks for the wonderful introduction there, Aeshmah. It's always a pleasure to work with you on this. My name is MattPonton. I speedrun Samurai Jack Battle Through Time on various different difficulties, and we held the world record on a few categories. Currently, the current world record for the run we're going to see right here today. Hopefully, Aeshmah is able to beat it. He's come close in some recent practice attempts, so maybe we'll be lucky to see it. We do tend to run in-game time is how the leaderboards are done, so you might hear Aeshmah shout out the end of the chapter, and I'm just going to be recording it on the side to see how we go, so we'll know if he hit a world record or not.
All right. With all of that said, I think we have about, an hour or so to talk about this. So why don't we go ahead and get the thing on the road, right? I mean, the intro cinematic is nice and all, but we want to see some speedrunning. That is why we're here. Before we start, though, you, dear viewers, I like haikus. So if you want to go ahead and, put in a donation to the wonderful marathon, we also have some awesome prizes if you don't know that yet. If you donate, make your donation a haiku, especially if it is Samurai Jack flavored, I will go ahead and match that donation after the run. So, you want to start this marathon off right, so get those haiku donations in. That would be absolutely wonderful. And with that said, I think if Jack is ready on the timer, let's get this party started in 3, 2, 1, go! And here we are in the very first level of the game. Not a lot to do there yet, because a large part of the run is actually going to be us trying to get enough resources to get some skill upgrades. And what those can do, I guess Matt can explain a little bit better than I can.
Yeah, so basically the game has a lot of RNG elements in terms of enemy drops. You're basically going to have a Spirit Fire, which is used to buy and unlock skills, as well as Bushido points, which also is used to unlock skills. However, while Spirit Fire tends to be frequently dropped by enemies, you don't tend to get too much Bushido from the enemy drops, and the best way to get Bushido is either through, chest pickups or through breaking weapons, because, there's 5 different categories of weapon attacks, and each one, if you end up breaking a weapon, you end up getting way more Bushido from the weapon break than you would from just, enemy deaths. And
that is also a large part of where the RNG of the run will come in, because the game, has a tendency to like to screw you over at parts where you don't get enough resources to get upgrades at critical points, and that makes sections just go by really, really slowly.
Yeah, the other parts would be that you have to get the gold. You need to get gold because we're going to have to be able to upgrade weapons and repair weapons as well. And unfortunately, while Spirit Fire and Bushido and other aura type of skills, are in the area, they'll come flying to Jack after he finishes off a mob. But items like coins and ammo are not automatically sucked into him. What you saw right there was actually Jack doing a Ki attack, which is the third resource called Ki Fire, which builds up his super meter. Primarily, you get it from enemy drops, as well as you have a good chance of getting a large Ki Fire if you land a successful parry. But we don't have the parry skill yet, so we're not going to be able to do that. Most of the run right now, we're trying to get up to rushing guard skill, which will allow us to increase our mobility for most of the... We'll be using the rushing guard for most of the map, basically.
Yeah, it's like the most important skill, I want to say, during the whole run, because it lets you do stuff like this.
And the game has 4 different difficulties. We're running on Jack today. Jack basically has the same difficulty and HP requirements that Samurai normal difficulty has, with the sole exception that all of Jack's attacks do plus 80% damage from what it would do on the Samurai difficulty. And for those curious who are out there and are Samurai Jack fans, right now we're going through a few old, parts of old episodes. And what's happened here is that, Jack's found a portal to the past, but Aku in the last-ditch effort has knocked him off course. And he's been knocked out of the time portal into sort of like a pocket dimension of Aku's will. And he's trying to find a way back to Ashi, who's in the portal, and he's trying to find him as he tries to survive Aku's battles here.
It's a little bit of a rehash, I guess, of the show itself, where Jack was always really busy finding a way back into the past, and it's kind of the same setup here, with just, slight variations. But it's also just gives the writers a nice opportunity to revisit some of their most favorite parts of the show.
Like here we're coming up to the first boss fight. Yeah.
I don't have enough Ki.
Well, it's going to take probably an extra 30 seconds then. Be fine. Now, the thing with the Scotsman is that you generally want to attack to the back, back of him, so he's using that rushing guard we talked about earlier, and he's doing the light attack out of it, which does a sort of like roundhouse kick. And the roundhouse kick does that's like 100 damage. He has like a 3,000 HP or something like that. So it just takes a little bit of time to do it if you don't have the ki, which you just got.
Okay, there we go. Alright, so first stage, we have a time of 3 minutes 23.19. Not too shabby considering that we had to, manually kill the Scotsman there. But yeah, that is just like we said, it's a little bit up to RNG. It rarely happens that you do not have the ki for the boss fight there. I think this is like the second time it ever happened to me. So I'm actually a little bit sad about it, but at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, there's much more bigger run killers
yeah.
later in the stage.
Like the first 4 stages of the game will look pretty normal if you've played the game yourself, but starting with the 5th stage of the game, Arcus City, is basically, the run changer where we do have enough skills to finally start doing all these crazy skips and whatnot to make the run go by even faster.
Yeah, if on the new game Jack difficulty, you're not gonna be able to like do a full unlocking of his skill tree. The game's designed to where you end up having to come back through the stages, grinding in order to get a full skill unlock. So a lot of the early level skills prevent us from doing all the skips that we found on the Discord. By the way, hi guys from the Discord.
So like if you've watched a Flying Coconuts run of this game on New Game Plus during, I think it was AGDQ at the beginning of the year, this category will look vastly different to that run simply because we do not have all these upgrades and skills yet. Because he was just, flying through the whole game.
Yeah, there's an ability at level 4, sword level 4, you could basically sort of what we call a hover dive or dive good. Which basically like sends Jack Korean. Like he can basically make super long jumps in distance travel. So we aren't privy to that because there's no way we were able to get enough money to reach level 4 of the sword in any sort of way that would help us out with the speed run in this game. Since most of the big heavy skips that save time are in the early stages where we aren't able to get anywhere close to that. For example, I think right now on a New Game Plus run, you'd basically be finishing off this stage entirely at this point. It's a really crazy, powerful maneuver, yeah. But you can always join the Discord some other time and welcome by the community, and we'll be happy to tell you. Speaking of which, I wanted to ask you, Aeshmah, I was like, what was it that you decided to start doing Samurai Jack speedruns?
That's actually a good question. I'm a little bit of a samurai game speedrunner. Well, if you've watched me do other things, other runs rather, they're always like samurai flavored. I run Ghost of Tsushima. I picked up Trek to Yomi recently, and I mean, samurai games. It's like right in the name of this one, right? Yeah, totally. By the way, what you're seeing now is Aeshmah's using Jack's fist category of weapon, which he can do on the fly and switch between the sword and his fist. The sword doesn't have any durability. It will never break, so that's why the 2 attacks are probably going to be the 2 best weapons in the game. But what you saw there was he was doing what was rushing guard's light attack for the fist, which is like the somersault kick. And the nice thing about it is that because when you do the somersault hit, it will auto retarget. Since it has a lot of hit frames in it, it will retarget Jack as long as he's in the air with it and he's killed an enemy. And since most of these enemies die in one hit, he can knock out multiple enemies with one somersault as long as he gets in good. Anywhere from instead of just one enemy, he'll take out 5 at most. I think is what we've seen. Now that is also one of the little tricky things in the run, where you would just try to hit as many enemies as possible with that attack, because obviously it saves a lot of time if you can kill 2 or 3 enemies or even more with it in one go instead of having to do it over and over again, because it takes a couple of seconds to perform, and every performance that you can cut out of a run is of course a little bit of a time save. I think another thing to take note of is that enemies, even though you are fighting technically the same enemy type, they have different HP values. So generally speaking, the more enemies you're fighting at once, the less HP each one of them has. So that also makes a little bit of a difference in the strategies that you're going to do during these battle arenas.
And then the later difficulties as well, they change the entire mob structure. Like sometimes it might be a more difficult, more HP enemies, or straight up different what's the word? It's compiled differently than it was on other difficulties. So there's some playback in that regard. Different strats are used in different difficulties because of that.
Yeah.
What you're seeing here is actually we're skipping half the mountain stage. Not sort of out of we're not doing any sort of out of bounds. It's probably one of the most open areas in the game. But we're basically just we're on the way to the boss fight here after two more paths. But he's cleaning up shop here.
Luckily, the hunters behaved, because while you are doing those double jumps up the mountains, there are some enemies that have ranged weaponry, and they can just absolutely ruin your day, because ranged weapons deal a lot of knockback damage, so you will just go flying down the mountain again if those guys actually hit you with their shots, and that again can just lose you a lot of time if they just keep doing it over and over again, which will definitely happen.
The hardest part was when he decided to try jumping between the branches. That's the one shot they always seem to knock you off.
Yeah.
You just have to pray for RNG at that point. And what you're seeing here is Aeshmah's picking up some power bracelets and some repairing some weapons as well. That way he can power bracelet will give him plus 5% damage. To a game that's already giving him plus 80% of the difficulty. A lot of this one-hit kill spawn groups is basically you just trying to kite the enemies all into a bundle, so that way you can kill as many as you can at once. And you're gonna see Aeshmah use the there you go, the fist ki. The fist ki differs from the other ki's where that it hits an AOE effect, but it's the same AOE, the same damage, and all within the same frame. So that's how I was able to kill both of those two beetles at the same time. And now we're going to see, hopefully, Aeshmah be using this little somersault trick where, because the beetle has a huge collision box, it stops Jack from immediately on the first frame from launching into the air. So he's able to just repeatedly do the somersault kick right from the first hit frame. Can be a little difficult, because if you push guard too soon, Jack will do there you go, a little barrel roll. Okay, slow you down, but it is pretty fun.
Okay, second stage done in 6:14:77. Once again, I'm just saying these times out loud because the actual timing for the leaderboards is done in in-game time, and that is why I'll just say these times out to Ponton so he can note them down on an Excel sheet, and we actually know what our real time will gonna be at the end of the run. Speaking of which, the in-game timer is paused while I am in any menu. That is why you will probably see me, slow down in the menus just a little bit to make sure that actually, grab the right skills, equip the right weapons, etc. Because it technically doesn't count towards the leaderboards times. Obviously, it will count towards the marathon time because, those things are still counted in real time. Because how else would we do that?
Yeah, it's anytime there's a cutscene or the pause screen or shop screen is up, basically. Almost, I think it's anytime Jack's not able to be controlled by the player. We use in-game time because I think the game's on 8 different platforms, and it just makes it easier since we verify that the time is at least accurate to real time timer, and that's why we focus on in-game time for it.
Basically, if you're playing video games and have a console or a system of any type, you can go ahead and get this game right now if you wanted to.
I think it's even on Apple Arcade, so it's on really? Cell phone as well. Yeah.
Okay, didn't know that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's on Apple Arcade. I think PS4, Xbox One/X, PS5, Switch, Steam, and I think Epic Games as well.
So just for clarification, I'm actually playing the PlayStation 4 version of the game on a PlayStation 5 right now. Just in case you guys are wondering. Another interesting tidbit, I think, is that this game was actually developed by the same guys who made Ninja Gaiden. And it definitely shows in some of the game's mechanics. Now, the game isn't as punishing as Ninja Gaiden, I want to say, but it can still absolutely kick your butt on higher difficulty settings.
Yeah, the battle director for Ninja Gaiden in Dead or Alive was I don't know if he was the lead battle director of this game, but he was definitely consulted on one of the lead designers from it.
Yeah. And it definitely shows, like, some of these fights definitely, you can feel the influence from that game series for sure.
I swear, the first 5 seconds of me fighting that light-heavy combo, I was like, okay, when are you going to give him an Azuna drop? I want to see Samurai Jack doing Azuna drop. Like, is that one of the unlockable skills? Like, I can't. Because I light-heavy, light. It's just.
I mean, can you just imagining Izuna dropping Dimongo or something, or Aku?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many of the team is left, but it was the chunk of the team that left with Tomonobu Itagaki after his departure at Tecmo ended up becoming what is Soleil. So most of the members of here were on Team Ninja, I think, and then I don't know. Obviously, it's been so long. I don't know who's still there or what, but I know that the in the direction battle director. Ihara was featured as a consultant at least.
Speaking of Dimongo.
And we didn't get any piercing arrows?
Nope, no piercing arrows and only a single enemy.
Yeah, just the RNG, like the piercing arrows is Dimongo's weakness. If you end up shooting him in the head as well with a bow and arrow. Bow and arrow staffs or bow and arrows bow and arrows have the benefit of being able to be aimed. And if you end up getting headshots on enemies, you'll get 200% damage of whatever the damage would be. So you're getting double damage for a headshot. You're getting plus 80% damage because it's Jack on Jack difficulty. And then if you have any power bracelets on or pushes of power, you're getting another 5 to 10% on top of that. So they can help like destroy him really fast. What you saw there actually was Jack doing his ki during when you end up taking out enemies that Dimongo spawns. They leave soul orbs, and those soul orbs can damage Dimongo, and they also damage them when they return to Dimongo. And what Aeshmah used was the fist ki, which again, like hits all in a radius instantly on the same frame. So it's sort of like an exploit with Dimongo, where if you have a lot of soul orbs on the field, you can use your fist ki to cause the ki damage to happen numerous times, because each orb takes the ki damage before it registers that he's taking ki damage. Plus the Dimongo takes the ki damage, plus he gets damage when the orbs return to him from taking the damage. So you can help really get through Dimongo much faster that way.
The only requirement for that is that you need 2 orbs out in the field for that to work, or rather to insta-kill him. But he only summoned 1 enemy at the start, so I had to wait a little bit before I actually used the ki and shoot both orbs back at him.
Yeah,
so lost us a little bit of time.
Unfortunately, on Jack difficulty, he can only spawn, I think, 2 or 3 enemies, whereas like on harder difficulties he can spawn 5 or so. But his HP is also much higher at those harder difficulties, so it really helps out when you get that. Plus, you have to also be managing your ki to have a ki to back up just in case.
Dimongo is probably like one of the most annoying enemies in the game. Ah, come on, what?
That was a really awkward hit.
It was. Like, I was through that door. What the hell, game?
For fans of the show, by the way, every single room you've gone through is the same chronological order that happened in the episode. I just always find that interesting.
Yeah, it's like, if you've watched the show, you can spot a lot of references and nods to the show for sure. Like, it's really like a little bit of a love letter, I want to say, to the show, which is really nice.
You have a little bit of time to rebalance the RNG with some haikus.
We are just getting to the boss fight of this stage, so let's do that afterwards.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, the next stage is kind of slow.
Yeah, for sure.
Has like the worst enemies in the game, in our opinion. Worst enemies for speedrunners, I should say.
Come on, buddy.
You tried.
He's just not
You're
letting me
too far
get
away.
this.
Too far away for that.
Yeah.
Hammer's not leveled up high enough. Yeah. What he tried doing there was trying to use the piercing arrows to the head of the giant. Now we don't want to kill him as fast as possible. We wanted to get him down to like 5% HP, and if we're a little reckless, we might end up killing him. The reason is because this is one of the 2 bosses in the game that you can end up stealing their weapons for the rest of the game, and he has the most powerful hammer in the game. So we're trying to get him down to 5 or 10% HP. Basically, he needs to be kneeling, and then we have to throw him as a finisher with our fist equipped. Should be there, and there you go. Special cinematic.
And that can actually screw over your run because you can't kill this guy before you can get the hammer, and that is not fun time. Also, this was a 6:31:25. Okay, do you quickly want to explain what the cemetery is about before we get to some donations?
Sure, no problem. Cemetery is actually one of my favorite episodes in the series, but basically Jack's going to be going through these very short mob fights a long way. The problem is that we're going to have a lot of undead soldiers, and mostly the zombies are the problem, but all the undead soldiers are basically like have this really weird issue. Well, I say weird, but annoying issue where they can burrow underground, and also when they're getting up out of the ground, they sometimes have this long iframe animation that can just make it annoying when you're trying to speed run the game, because it is RNG, and as you see, he just dove right there in the ground. So we gotta wait for him to come back up, and that can really hurt some speedrunning timing. And it's basically going to be like this for like the next like 5 minutes until we get to the final boss fight.
If we are lucky, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, with that, Panda, if you have any donations to read, I guess now will be a good time.
Excellent, I do indeed. The first one is a $5 donation by Happy by Free, and it says, Samurai Jack first. What a way to start it out. It's snowing on my feet. Thank you very much, and that is going to the upgrade to 100% option for Primal Light. And the second donation is from P. Speedlord. I've murdered that, I apologise. And they say, here, read! Got to get back to the past, Samurai Jack. Thank you for reminding me I need to finish the show. If you figure out who I am, I'll donate more. Only hint I'll give is I hold 3 world record, and it is a popular horror game. Thank you very much. And with that, back to you.
Okay, do we have to guess now who has 3 world records in popular horror games to get more donations?
Thank you for the existing donations, though.
That too as well. Also, does the intro that was quoted count as a haiku? Does a little bit, doesn't it? Might have to check that. But yeah, you actually saw how bad these zombies can be for a speedrun, because, you know, they just keep tunneling down on the ground, wasting my time like champions.
The other thing that makes it annoying is that Jack he has an auto-targeting when he fires ranged attacks, and he still will auto-target them even if they're underground. So normally priority is given to the closer enemy, but if the closer enemy is underground, then you end up like wasting ranged weapons on it. That's what makes it a little annoying.
And we do like our ranged weapons because they are powerful and actually needed for some parts of the run, so wasting those too much can definitely screw with you.
They do help out in the more difficult battles or higher HP enemies as well, to allow you to get some more combos in. Right now we're basically just trying to like level Jack up fast enough to get a jump good, and the jump good is going to allow us to basically do a lot of our. It's going to open up all the weapon, all the most of the skips in the game are going to be opened up by just having jump good, because the that will allow us to jump over most of the barriers that are blocking our path.
Because spoiler alert, the barriers that are placed in the arenas, nah, we can find some good ways around those.
You can see a lot of them if you're doing New Game Plus, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely, yeah, that's pretty crazy, that run.
It took Aeshmah 3 minutes and 20 seconds to get through stage 1. In New Game Plus, it ends up being like less than a minute.
Yeah. I mean, the New Game Plus run is like, what, 20 minutes-ish? Something like that? I think.
New Game Plus Jack is like 20 or 23 minutes or something like that. And then the New Game Plus Master of Masters difficulty is at like an hour and 45. No, 45 minutes. Like 45 minutes.
Oh.
Trying to buy the piercing arrows whenever you can, because they're so powerful on many of the enemies, especially the Mongo. And even on the New Game Plus runs, the stage is probably I think this stage is the only stage where we don't have any sort of skip, like major skip, in it, because the game, like, only for this stage they put a collision box in the roof or in the skybox. So even if we were able to like get over any wall, there's nothing. We'd be hitting a ceiling before we hit the edge of the wall. And speaking of speaking of spoilers, you went one too far.
Why? What?
So that's the weapon break system. Whenever you fire an arrow, you lose 10 durability per bow, and what you saw was Aeshmah trying to get the bow down to like.
I heavily disagree with that game. I shot 19 arrows. That bow has a durability of 200.
So basically, we were hoping to get the bow down to one arrow before break, because what ends up happening is that if you end up doing the breaking attack to an enemy, if a weapon breaks the moment you're landing an attack on the enemy, you get 500% its normal damage. So that compiled with an aimed headshot to aimed headshot plus jack difficulty plus all your other attack ups, you can do a lot of damage and almost in many cases one hit kill the bosses. So that's why you can see Aeshmah's like really deterred right now.
Yeah, like, I mean, this is definitely a, well, that never happened before situation right here. Because I think I had 40 arrows, so at 21 I should have stopped. I did, and it broke anyway.
The only way you can see your current durability per weapon is when you're at a shot, which is why you saw Aeshmah like looking over at the repair screen and not repairing it. But instead using the information to know how many shots he had to use before it was about to break.
Okay, that was very strange. Well, I guess we just have to go ahead and do the Mongo the normal way then.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe you'll save a minute and a half on prison ship again.
Well, we'll see. Depends on the Bushido drops again.
This is my most hated area of the stage. In New Game Plus, we were able to skip at least like 2 of these 3 mob fights, but it's a 2D section, and the enemies all like to burrow underground or just like backdash away from you indefinitely, because it adds a new wall in front of you, but doesn't close off the area behind you. So like those ancient warriors there with like the axe, basically you end up, as you can see, are just like backdashing back further and further, and you just have to make this long trek back to the actual other enemies.
Or the zombies just bury underground.
Yeah, ideally, like the hammer's a good option here, because using its rushing guard light attack does 2 hits. It's auto guard while you're doing it, and it causes an AOE knockdown effect on the second hit. So sometimes you can get to knock down a slew of enemies over. Like, you just see how you just take out those guys. It's like one of the better options to use. Just try to trap them, but like that's sort of like the best thing to do.
Okay, I guess we just have to do the Mongol the old-fashioned way, huh?
Yeah, just do a few more arrow shots. He's gonna run away anyways.
Fair enough.
Yeah, these slow spawning zombies, I swear.
At least on Jack difficulty, you have the opportunity to just throw shurikens up at them and they instantly die.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a saving grace right there, because you are fighting a lot of these zombies, and sadly, this is not the last stage that they will appear on.
Hope that parry gave you the key eye.
Nice. But I'd rather save that for the actual boss.
Yeah, obviously. It's going to take a little bit longer of the Mongo fight here than normal. Normally it's a one-shot kill because of the weapon break, is which is what we were preparing for. We also don't want to use too many of our piercing arrows because we need those for the for a later fight. And RNG just has to give us the piercing arrows as best we can.
Okay. I guess that was acceptable, but as we said, normally this would be a one-shot if I still had the other arrow, so I would just kill him with the last shot of that arrow, because it deals so much damage if you get the headshot. No, well. The game decided to be a little bit of a troll today, like this guy, who immediately disappeared at the start of the fight for whatever reason. Oh my god. The game is just giving it its all today. What the...
At least you got the Bushido from
yeah.
the manga.
8:16:24. So that is a time that you do not want to see at this stage. You want to see something that is below 8 minutes. So that makes me a little bit unhappy. Guess you just have to do a little bit better on the next stages then. Because now starts the fun part. Because now we can actually go ahead and get the jump good ability that Ponton has alluded to a little bit earlier. And yeah, we will see some out of bounds shenanigans happening from now on.
Props again to the Discord for finding all these skips that we
Mm-hmm.
I know that Aeshmah joined us a little late, so he wasn't privy to the moment to the skip finding moments, but it certainly was fun showing them to him.
I only started speedrunning this game at the beginning of the year roundabout, and it released back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it that long? Jeez.
Maybe 18?
I think 18.
Yeah, 17 or 18. Wait, I think 17 was when the fifth season
19.
of the show released, right?
I just remember... I'm pretty sure it was actually... I wouldn't be surprised if it was 20. The pandemic, void that's in my head. You mean it's the cloudiness that you can't remember dates, anything past 2020 to me?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's really just something that we all suffer from.
August, that's why. August. Oh, it's either August 2019 or August 2020. One of the two.
I think 19 then.
Yeah.
So yeah, the game has been around for, a little while already. Oh. Now another thing to take note of is we explained earlier, how the rushing guard works. You basically just start walking and then you block, and Jack will start rushing. And if you attack then and there, you will do the rushing guard attacks, as we call them. Now another thing you have to keep in mind though, as soon as you get the counter ability, what can happen is while you are rushing forward and before you actually attack, if an enemy hits you during that time, Jack will actually do a counter hit instead of the rushing guard attack. And that can mess with you sometimes just a little bit, because obviously you want to go for the rushing guard attack and not the counter, at least if you're fighting normal enemies.
Yeah, it's because because the counter attack is done by holding guard and pushing the heavy button, and the rushing attacks are all light or heavy attacks while you're doing a rushing guard, which is hold direction and push guard. So if you're not timing it right, then you could be coming out of the rushing guard with a counter hit a counter attack attempt instead of the heavy attack attempt that you might be doing. Fortunately, most of the good rushing guard attacks are the light attacks, so you don't have to worry too much about it. I think it becomes a problem if you're trying to do the rushing guard light or rushing guard heavy options for the fist, which will allow you to infinite some enemies because they don't reset their hit counter. But we're about to get to the first skip of this stage, and the first major skip of the run, honestly, where we get to see Aku City for briefly before leaving it behind and deciding, you know what, Aku City is not really the best place for Jack right now. Just going to go ahead and jump up on this lamp and then use some signage to scale higher until eventually we're just going to go back to the start of the game, of the stage. It's always a low difficult spot because there's that one pit that's just entirely, you know, blacked out. So right now we're just basically going to be heading back to the beginning of the stage. There's a spawn location or a checkpoint location right at the beginning of the stage for reaching the third part of the level as it loads into cutscene. It's a little difficult to do on like slow loading platforms like the Switch or PS4, but you can do a pause buffering, which I think Aeshmah is just like, you know, habitually used to now.
Yeah.
For it, it doesn't affect much because again, pausing stops in game time, so you don't have to worry too much there. But we're basically just trying to trigger this. There we go. Trigger this cutscene, and then again fight one fight, and then we're in the final third of the stage. Sometimes the fourth enemy doesn't get hit by that. I don't know if it was.
Too far away.
Also, we're just trying to make sure we get some money, but it looks like they haven't dropped any money for us, unfortunately.
I think because of the enemy behind me, he pushed me a little bit too much forward, and that is why the other guy didn't get hit.
Yeah, as you level up the weapons, their ki eyes will level up as well as the weapons doing 10% more damage. The ki eyes will also typically increase their range or increase their length of time that they're played out. So with the current, you know, at level 2, I think we're at with the hammer right now. Like you don't have too much range with the ki, unfortunately. But like, you know, if you have New Game Plus, you know, you can reach across the stage. So basically, we're at a 2D section here. Josephine and Zeke, I know you guys missed them. Josephine and Zeke are two enemies, the only 2D enemies in the game that we have to fight through. We still only have one ki right now. I don't know which strategy Aeshmah's planning on doing right now.
Yeah, we can't get the second ones yet.
Yeah. I think we have to play through the entire stage in order to get to enough for the level up.
But here's Zeke.
But then there's time. So here's Zeke. We're gonna have to fight him a total of 3 times solo before fighting both him and Josephine. It's fortunate that for him, you can basically, if he starts falling down eventually, he stops guarding. I don't know what's wrong with him right now, but he basically can stun lock him into the same attack and he's infinite. And if you end up throwing him during these early phases, then it's enough damage to kill him for the phase. So we're going to face Zeke, then we're going to face Josephine, and then we're going to face Zeke 2 more times, and then we fight the 2 together. Unsure what the current strat is for Aeshmah though. If he's going to yeet Zeke on the third. I think we can just
go for or try the other strategy again that we came up with just this week.
You just yeet Zeke on the third one. No. Save it for the last, the fourth fight. Yeah. So this second fight with Zeke after this fight with Josephine right now is a little annoying because you can see that there's barriers that stop Jack from progressing, but Zeke can fall out of those barriers, and we just have to wait a long time for Zeke to decide to come back into the ring. So he's going to try to avoid knocking Zeke out of the ring right here, and just take the damage and take the time loss, if any, to just finish him off here without him falling off. So it's a long wait, sadly, if he does fall off. There we go. Oh, good. Was a short run. Sometimes he can jump up in the air and start his air projectile, which can take another 4 seconds.
Okay, that was only one time he fell down, so that's quite okay.
Most times we like to just use our one ki on that fight because it just gets them out of the way faster in one spurt. And then if we're able to do that, then we can hopefully save the ki for the final encounter with them. Ideally, what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep Josephine alive, just like the Ancient King. If you want to steal her parasol, so we can sell the parasol for money. So he's trying to get some distance between him and her, so we don't accidentally kill her. She's also playing very nice right now.
And she barely got hit by the Kia anyway.
No,
so
she was too far away.
Really far away.
He spawns in on the far left side, so you being in the center, I don't think it was anywhere near her. But you're doing a good job here so far, trying to evade her attacks using your counter hit. And we're just trying to get her down to like 15%. She'll fall down to the ground. We finish her off with the fist throw, and then we'll hopefully get the Josephine's umbrella.
There we go.
There we go. And that's stage 5.
And that was a time of 7:49:02. Well, it seems a little bit high.
Do I have a minute to plug an incentive for the next run?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Yep. The next run coming up is Bud Spencer and Terence Hill Slaps and Beans, and we have an incentive for what the run category is going to be, and that is easy versus normal. Currently, there is no donations for this. So if you want to make life harder for Padron, get your donations in for normal, because she wants easy. Why do we make it easy for them?
And while you're at it, do some more haikus. You want to use them?
Yes, give us the haikus. Thank you very much.
Stage 6. This is the start of the second half of the game, where we're basically following Season 5's episodes. And also, as sort of a spoiler alert, this game is considered canon and takes place during the final episode of the series. And if you end up collecting all 50 special medals, then you can end up seeing an extended ending that wasn't privy in the show. But right now, Jack is basically fighting Scaramouche, everyone's favorite SpongeBob variant, featuring the voice of Tom Kenny. Since we're on Jack difficulty, we're not going to be able to see most of his shenanigans in this battle. Hopefully not. Hopefully we won't be able to see
There's always the possibility. We'll see the shenanigans of somebody else, though, in just a second.
This was like, this is one of the most broken stages. I don't want to say broken stage, but you know what I mean? Like, it has a lot of different, like, this is the big one where we sort of were able to find a lot of skips from. Especially in New Game Plus, where we could just sail over top of some barriers. But we're basically going to skip half the level shortly after this fight with Demongo. You can sort of see the castle over there, and you basically just long zigzagging normally. But we're just going to go over a barrier that jumps us straight to the final boss fight shortly after we get back down into the ground here.
First of all, we're going to do a lot of shopping where we first off sell off a lot of the weapons that we picked up over the course so far, because we absolutely do not need them. We only want to upgrade our hammer and then keep the Ancient King's Mace in good shape.
Yeah, for most enemies in the game, the Ancient King's Mace is going to do the most damage with its Ki, comparable to all the other weapon categories. The hammer is pretty much like considered a top tier weapon solely for the Rushing Guard Light attack and for its Ki damage, leveled up Ki damage, I should say. Because it's generally a single hit AoE attack, so it's going to do a lot of damage for one hit rather than have to play out an entire Ki animation for speedrun purposes. So we just have this. These are probably the other annoying guys of the runs, because the enemies can spawn in attacking you, but they don't wait till they get to the ground. But sometimes you can get stuck in the stun lock loop with rocket splash and splash damage from rockets, and every one of those enemies can fire a rocket. With some enemies only firing rockets. Definitely wouldn't be a Ninja Gaiden game without rocket spam, right?
Absolutely not. And like we said earlier, the knockback is just insane. Like Poton just said, you can just get absolutely stun locked for long periods of time if the enemies just, you know, if you basically have bad luck with how the attacks of the enemies line up and hit you. And you can basically die if you're really, really unlucky. Maybe not on Jack difficulty, but definitely on higher difficulties of the game.
And it's sometimes better to just lay down on the ground and wait for the long wake up animation, because at least you're invincible when getting up. But like if you're trying to tech up off the ground after getting hit by rocket spam, you're just gonna. There's an example right there of how far you get knocked back. You're just gonna have a bad time, okay?
Yep.
Because even if the rockets don't hit you, it's the splash damage that can still knock you down. So like they could be aimed to miss you, being like lenient, but they can still cause damage because you're in a corner and the splash damage hits you. That's what makes it more annoying about it. So right now what we're doing is we're farming for Reapers. Reapers are sort of like a sticky hand grenade type of projectile that you get for free if you defeat any of these beetles with a throw as a fist. Or you can spend a lot of money of them on the shops, but only 5 at a time. So it's very beneficial to just grind for some Reapers because you're going to need them in the end game. This is Aeshmah's favorite skipping game.
It's not.
Everyone send him your power. Raise your hands up.
Yeah, for some reason, I just really have a lot of problems with this skip. I don't know why. It's just...
There we go. He just sometimes forgets to jump. He forgets to jump good or goes too far on the arc, that's all. Okay, now we're going to spawn in the final checkpoint so we can take on Scaramouche.
Oh, so that skipped like half the level or something.
Like I said, there's a bunch of zigzagging and we just went straight through. But interesting thing, because it's so rare to get Ki in general, or at least get Ki in a single mob fight, the interesting thing is that the game will cut the damage from the Ki in half.
4, 15, 30?
Good time on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it basically, like, if you use a Ki multiple times on the same enemy, each successive time you do it, it will do half the damage than it did the previous time. So it makes it annoying for boss fights, especially if you have, the full 3 Ki unlocked.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to do. But yeah, like you just saw at the start of the stage here, like you just get hit by a, well, quote-unquote normal handgun bullet, and it just, sends you flying backwards.
Yeah, it's basically a microscopic rocket.
Yeah, that's a good explanation, actually, for sure.
Just with no splash damage, but better aim.
Which is kind of worse.
This is actually the first stage. This is based off of, I think, episode 2 of season 5. This is the first stage where we found our first skip in the game, and from there we were able to, we as the Discord were able to find various number of skips basically using the same technology. We call it the Elephant Sister skip. It's the ESS. So it ends up skipping, like, I would say 50 to 60% of the level, because
it's a lot, yeah.
Normally you have to like run through all the different rooms of the temple, fight the daughters a number of times, but we're just gonna go ahead and just use the new roof that we create and get ourselves to the final snowy forest battle. So here's the daughters I just spoke of. They're the daughters of Aku. They each have about 2,000 HP on this difficulty. On the 4th hit in a row for them, they will do a combo breaker sort of attack, unless you're using like the rushing guard heavy of the fist, but it's just faster just to eat the damage. Also, a fun note is that if it takes too long for you to finish them off, eventually this wave of them will actually just run off. But it's much longer than a speed run necessary. Oof, rock damage, rock dash damage, here's 4.
There we go.
There's another one.
And now some projectiles, just for good measure.
I can see them coming at least. Like, just sort of see them like, Right, so way down on the ground. Yeah, I won't feel like this is a Ninja Gaiden team game if I don't get hit by rocket spam.
Can you just give me some ki, please? My God.
Oof. I disagree with the use of the ki there. You might be able to get back because it seems that like ki has a good drop rate if you're using range weapons. As well, so we're going to be hitting a room here with like 30 different enemies. We're going to also do some quick calculation right now on how many shots we have left for our bow. So we need this for the the next second to last stage.
Mm-hmm.
We need this for the final stage. Or yeah, you're preparing for the Damongo fight on the prison ship, right? Yeah.
Get that. I think I'm going to use the leaf spring bow because I know that the wood bow has a durability of 200 anyway. So 14 shots. Let's count it out.
Oh, yeah. Luckily, these are all enemies that die in one hit.
10. 11. 12. 13.
I was saying, I think you double counted it. The 11.
What the heck? Okay, this is starting to get really
I was
annoying.
counting with you, and it seemed like you may have double counted the 11, but I can't see too well on the screen. I'm sorry.
Did I?
Yeah. So you fired the shot, and then got hit onto the ground, and then counted 11 on the second shot.
All right. I mean, we have another.
We weren't on world record pace anyway, so it's not like.
Yeah. But apparently I can't count on camera.
not on the speedrun marathon camera. Because the bow and arrow will decrease its durability whether the hit lands or not. So now you can just see this is Aeshmah actually angry. like comboing into using like a 6-hit combo there, hammer into arrow into hammer. So here's that skip we talked about, by the way. This is the ESS skip. Now, if we do fail and die, which we're not, but if we did end up failing and dying, we won't be able to reuse this exact skip again because it's going to spawn that elephant over our head.
There you go.
The trick there is that you have to sort of like angle your jump good, which is not normal. So it makes it a little annoying with the collision. So a lot of players tend to have a little issue with that.
The other problem with that skip is that, you know, not only do you have to angle the jump good, but you also have to do this double sword attack to gain just a little bit of height to actually make the double jump out of that hole. The issue is if you're still holding to any direction on the stick while you are doing the jump good, you would actually do this sword slash straight down, and obviously that is not what you want to do.
And hopefully the girls all play nice here.
Yep, they do.
Nice job.
Okay, so we got a 437.76.
The benefit of having that that leveled up hammer that we wasted, that we spent all our money on in the previous stage, because the girls can, like, there's that like 1 or 2 girls who can jump out of range, and you just have to spend an extra like 5 seconds taking them out. So here we are on the second stage to the finale of the game. Second to last stage, I guess is what people actually say.
This is your favorite level, right?
I hate this level so much. Like, I understand the disdain for the undead cemetery being greater because, like, at least we have an actual solid, like, at least we have a skip in this level. But it just feels, the level can feel claustrophobic because you're just going from one space room to the next. It looks like we're in a desert, so we're like, why are you claustrophobic? Well, we're about to go into like the crashed prison ship that holds the Lazarus from like episode 8 or not, episode 8 or not. I think episode 8 of season 5. There's a ninja friend. I think it's the first time we run into a ninja in on this new game. Plus, new game view.
I mean, normally you would have seen them during Aku City, I think, is where they actually get introduced.
That's the first introduction, is the Aku City where we skipped him. So there's ninjas here, and the annoying thing about the ninjas is that if they choose so, they have an RNG that happens like as they get lower health. They have an attack that basically they can, you know, they do some Kakebushin no Jutsu, and basically like disappear off the screen and then respawn as 5 of themselves, 5 shadow clones basically, or up to 5 shadow clones. And if you don't kill the original, which you have no way to physically tell with outside of the life bars, don't kill the original, then you're going to end up just hopefully you're just going to be taking out the shadow clones and not doing any damage. And he can do it again. I think there was one time in New Game Plus where in that specific room, actually, we just had to start this level. We had I had like 15 ninjas in the one room, and I'm like, I'm done, rage quit.
Yeah, it can get pretty bad if they just keep doing that over and over again, for sure.
What
so
you're seeing
just
here,
want to get rid of them really quickly if you can.
Well, I was explaining that though. I'm sorry, but the you saw the purple slugs. There's 3 different levels of slugs. We've only seen the small ones right now, but there's a large, medium, and small, and the large can spawn mediums, and the mediums will, on death, will spawn the small ones. They can be very annoying because their acid is unblockable, basically making it just like annoying if you get too many of them in one spot. There you go. Man, I would hate to see that three fight in this area. Breaking just at the right time, right when you needed it to. And so basically you were able to see the value that, and the reason why Aeshmah was getting so tilted. The value in the bows breaking with a headshot. So here's the large slug we talked about. It can spawn the medium slugs, and the medium slugs on death will spawn the
small slugs.
Yeah. The only thing as well, most people don't realize is that it's like some people just like toss like Reapers at them for the sticky bomb, but if the Reaper kills them, which it will in this case, it doesn't actually explode. Like the Reaper gets destroyed from the game, so it ends up being put into like, you know, lost memory. So there's no explosion. You're just tossing like basically shurikens.
Yeah.
So here's the one skip in this level that we really have, which they just forgot to put collision above the door. So.
Luckily, the portal that we just went through still has a hitbox like way over it, so you can actually continue with the game and teleport out of that room.
It saves like roughly maybe 5 minutes. Bad day, maybe like 3 to 5 minutes, depending on. You have to go through like 3 different rooms and some cutscenes of opening up the locks for that door. So just like being very fortunate to have that one invisible, like non-collision spot over top of the door that's blocking progress.
Now the downside to that is that you don't get the, what's it called, the X29, which is the weapon that you would normally use against Lazarus as it insta-kills them. However, you already have the Ki upgrade, so I don't know, that's kind of progress.
The X29 is like the small hand grenade, like electric. It's like electric shock hand grenade. I think the I think it's like X86 or something like that is the big giant bomb. You're only allowed to have 1 per in your inventory, but it does like 50% to 75% depending on difficulty. HP to the Lazarus mid boss, so it's very beneficial. But likewise, you can get a lot of use just by using Reapers or using a Ki. It's not too much of a time loss, just, you know, skipping all that those battle rooms. We're hopefully going to get the second Ki before we fight the final boss, because it's going to make it a lot easier, way easier. Watch your head.
Yeah, these portals actually have a hitbox around it, so if you touch the blue flames, I want to say, that are around
the rim.
Portal, yeah, the rim, right. You will get knocked back, like if you've been hit by a projectile, which is... why would you do that?
It doesn't do any damage. Also, it's just like, it's like a, hey, don't touch the center, jump through the hoop, please. Yeah. Type mechanic, and it's just you know, it causes some frustration. So the idea here is that you want to take out the large slugs as fast as possible, Otherwise, you're just going to get inundated with a bunch of like mid to slow, or mid to small range slugs that spew unblockable acid. As you can see, they're just like pushing into him. If you get knocked into the corner with those 2 large slugs still on there, you're gonna have a bad time. Some piercing arrows fell.
Are those piercing arrows?
Or explosive. They had the same exact
Those explosive arrows.
Damn. Well, that was worth a shot. Okay, so we got the most powerful power bracelet. So as soon as Aeshmah equips that, he'll have a plus 15% attack bonus to him.
Okay, 25. Can we do 25 shots? What I wanted to do there.
Yeah, we don't want to use the Kiani here. Luckily, the hammer does take out a lot of his health relatively easily. There's an example right there where the rushing guard didn't really happen in time. It really helps out that the Russian guard light of the hammer has so much auto guard on it that you can just evade. It just put yourself in the middle of the damage. There we go. Okay. Now we're gonna fight the boss of the stage, which is Demon Form Ashi. From episode 9, stage 5. Try and do some damage a little bit so we can hopefully clear her out easier. Yeah, having 2 of them is going to help out tremendously. Because when they're in that down state we're about to hit her in, she actually takes 50% less damage.
So that was a 553-23.
Better than your practice one.
Just with that, we are onto the last level of the game already. And this is like just a lot of fighting that's going to happen right here, right now. In Akku's tower.
Yeah, definitely not on world record pace. We need to have a 4-minute time posting on the stage in order to I didn't want to confuse you with your counting. We need like a 4-minute time.
Swallow 2 away.
It's better to keep it the chance that there's
That is what I was thinking.
Yeah. Don't risk it. Yeah, we need like a 4-minute. Yeah, we need like a 4-minute and not 4-minute time on this stage, which is doable on New Game Plus, but
not so much on New Game.
You would need this level 4 sword.
Well, I did have a lot of money this run, though. That is definitely something that happened.
Yeah, and you got the second Ki relatively fast. It just was unfortunate that we had a few of those hiccups earlier.
Yep. Also, if you have any more donations to read or anything to plug, because we are collecting money for charity here.
And this stage right here is basically like 4 levels of just mob waves. So, not that it's boring. It's just we just have to go through the slog. Yep. But then right here we're going to have the Mongo fight, which is the most the enemy with the most HP in the game is this fight here actually. And we're going to try using that breaking arrow shot. Which, we were both off, but
at least the enemy's on the other side of him.
Yeah, thank God. He turned around in the middle of getting shot. He's like trying to use his cloak as a shield. There we go.
I do in fact have a donation from Golden Devil for
what am I doing?
$50. And they say free panda.
What am I even doing here right now? Okay, you know what? We're gonna do it right now.
Sorry about that. Go ahead again.
Check it. Are we talking to me?
Yeah. We were talking over it. I apologize.
Yeah. It's okay. We have had $50 from Golden Devil, who says free the panda. So thank you very much. I'm currently not in the basement though, so happy days.
Could you still read donations from the basement though?
Yes, I can, but Flower's not here right now, so I'm not in the basement.
What am I doing? There we go. Zombies! Have you guys missed them? Because I haven't.
Summoning the undead in his own tower. I mean, come on. Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, you know, it's just the last level. Of course, you need some undead enemies in the game, right? Oh, yeah, right. Thank you. That helps. So this is a fight where I definitely want all the projectile weapons that I can get, just to, you know, I don't have to get close to the enemies and walk into the bow with the hands or anything like that.
Yeah, if he gets too close to them, they're going to decide to like go underneath the ground. And we're probably going to use a Ki here to wipe out all the enemies here. Just because
Absolutely do. Absolutely will.
A lot more annoying zombies. Because we should be able to build that Ki back up soon.
Some of the Stone Warriors, these are once again pretty easy to defeat, but since there are so many of them at once, you can definitely get a hit, and you know, once again, causes knockback, slows you down just a tad, but they are kind of behaving. I mean, they are attacking a lot, but they're not hitting me.
Normally it's the pole versions of them that cause an issue, because they have such a long reach that they can like hit you while you're trying to while you're in auto guard or in recovery. But yeah, I used the Ki there. Already have about like a third there. Basically, what ends up happening is that like every attack you do and block, you get like maybe 2 to 6 Ki energy, and it's 3,000 in order to fill up a Ki meter. So it's obviously not something that happens very frequently. But with this wave-based system, we should be able to get back the second Ki by the end of this wave, these waves, and then we'll be on to the fight with Aku.
Yeah, so this is basically the last arena. It's always like one big enemy of the enemy types, coupled with always 2 smaller ones that just keep respawning for a little while. And now we're on to these, and after these we have the beetle drones again, and that will be the last wave for this arena. And like Ponton said, then we are on to Aku, which will be the last boss of the game, obviously. Because,
the second
who else would it be?
Could be the Mongo!
Oh god, please no. We've seen enough of him, I think.
Oh, you literally split him in half, so...
Now I do have to make the confession that I played this game before I actually watched the show, and this game made me believe that Mongo was gonna be a way bigger deal during the show than he actually ended up being. So, yeah.
And not just one
episode. Putting that out there.
I didn't want to jinx you, but you were having some good kite pulls there. You're just doing a good job.
He does show up during one more episode, like in season 5, I think, but it's only like a little cameo. Anyway, yeah. Last boss fight. So get ready on time, actually.
Time's gonna be as soon as Aku's life is depleted. Don't be worried there. We're trying to get him down to 40% HP because we can break his AI if we land a hammer Ki during his 40% during this one right here. Let's go ahead and do the Ki here.
Okay,
so break his
time.
Shot.
And time.
GG.
That is the run. I guess we can just quickly watch this cutscene and then we go to the time. And yeah, Ponton, do you have any shoutouts to do?
Of course, I want to shout out the Samurai Jack Battle Through Time Discord, which also isn't just like the game Discord, but also I think it's a pretty good Samurai Jack Discord in general. So if you're a fan of the show or even looking to get into the game speedrunning, feel free to join. The link's available on speedrun.com. Appreciate them, and I also want to just give a quick shout out, as always, to the creators of the game and the creators of the series, Kenny Tartakovsky, who wrote the script for the game, as well as Soleil, the team from Soleil, who put a lot of effort into this, and all those from Adult Swim Games that helped us, and at least help release this game that I've had more than 1 year of enjoyment playing multiple times through.
Yeah, as for me, Ponton, thank you so much for joining me for commentary once again. He is the world record holder in this category. I think we are like 12 seconds apart or something at this point. Sadly, I was again not able to topple him from the throne, but I will keep on trying in the near future and you know, make him run the game again in the process as well, because you obviously will want that back. Thank you so much for the organizers for having me during the marathon as the opening run. Actually, if you want to see more from me, I will actually run Muramasa this Sunday during Indiethon, so you know, if you're in for some more samurai action, do stick around and watch that. Otherwise, stick around for the rest of the marathon. We just only started, so we have a whole weekend planned out for you. Shoutouts to all the other runners and good luck to them on their run. And with that, I guess we have a final time of 5:52.36 on the last stage. Ponton, can you quickly add up those times to know what our IGT was for this run?
IGT time was 52 minutes, 53 seconds, and well, 52 minutes, 53.12 seconds.
Okay, that is like 1 minute
plus 1 minute 44. Yeah.
RTA was 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 51 seconds.
Alright, I mean, after all that happened during this one, I think this is not that bad, because we definitely had some bad luck during all of it, but we managed to sail through it. But yeah, that is all from us. I wish you a very happy Indiethon, and hope to see you guys soon. Until then.
Thank you very much, Aeshmah. And just before we go, just a reminder that the next run has an incentive that will be closing at the start of that run. So if you want to change the result of easy versus normal, you need to get your donations in now. We're going to go to a brief intermission, and we will see you soon.